welcome to Creative Compass. We are talking about navigating the path back to our inner artists. And today we are talking with Christa Forrest. Christa, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to read a little bit about Christa. Christa is a full-time artist specializing in oil pastel, acrylic, and mixed media. After spending 20 years in a finance career, she decided to follow her true passion and become a full-time artist. Christa spends her time sharing her passion, teaching others to be creative, and exploring the world's landscapes, recreating them on canvas. Her work is a mixture of realism, exploration, experimentation, and pure fun. Christa hopes to encourage everyone to unleash their inner goddess through artwork. Her current project, Creative Soul Art, is in the works to help others unleash their creative souls through art, music, and creative expression. Helping creatives learn to nourish their soul by creating intuitively without the pressure of perfection and judgment. That sounds amazing. Welcome, Christa, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Christa, we're talking about in this interview series the unique paths that each of us take to finding our creative life. Sometimes we think artists are just born with a paintbrush in their hand and they're magically artists, but that's not the case for most of us. So I was wondering if you could just share with our viewers what your journey was like to the creative life that you are living now.
Well, I had a career, I had a job with kids I had to take care of. And I was always creative in high school, always drawing something. And then once I had to kind of live life or adult, creativity kind of disappeared. And each year, each decade after that, it just kind of disappeared even more. And then I kind of opened up again to creativity. One day I took an art class and it was just kind of like, boom. It was like an awakening of sorts, something that, wow, this is something that I'm truly passionate about. But I kind of let it go for so long. And after a while, it was just all I wanted to do. I didn't want to kind of go to work. I wanted to work, but I didn't want to do the job that I was doing. I wanted to paint. I wanted to create. And finally, I was able to take on that path with my husband's blessing and be able to be a full-time artist and teacher.
Wow. So I'm curious, was there like an event or a moment that led you back towards that art class, or how did that sort of unfold?
I definitely was dealing with some anxiety and, not depression. I think that's a strong word, but just with my work environment, it was very toxic. Plus just organizing, my kids were getting in their teenage years. So it was starting, things were starting to get overwhelming. And so I took an art class to just kind of, it was an out. It was my kind of relaxation that I needed. And it worked, actually. It worked a little too much. And now it is my full-time job, and I have other outs that I utilize to relax and meditate and to get myself back in that balanced space. But it took a while for me to take on this journey of creativity. But it was just, my life was just not, I guess we get to a point as we get older, or any point in our lives where we start questioning, is this what I really want in life? Am I doing what I really enjoy? Am I spending enough time here, or am I focusing enough time here? And once I started questioning that and, asking myself, what am I truly passionate about? Do I really need to go to work? Well, I do need to go to work, and I need to, have a roof over my head and all that. But do I need to do something that doesn't make me happy? It makes me a lot of money, but is it making me happy? And I guess I had that conversation with myself, and, I want to do something that makes me happy rather than make a lot of money, because again, money doesn't bring full happiness. And I've never looked back. I don't, all those worries and things that I've had in life about, okay, am I going to have enough money? Can I budget? Am I going to be, once I focused on something, my passion of painting, and I'm doing it every day, those worries just kind of went away, because maybe it was just the right decision. It was something that I needed to do. It was my nourishment, and I went for it. And there's so many people that ask, have that fear of leaving, leaving that safety that they've built for themselves, and just kind of following their passion, whether it's cooking, what it could be anything. And I never say just do it, because it takes planning, it takes a lot of time, but definitely write about it, journal about it, meditate about it, think about it, and think about ways that you can actually kind of pursue your passion in baby steps, in small little increments, and then maybe eventually it can blossom into something bigger.
Thanks. I love that. I love that. That idea of baby steps so much. I think a lot of people, you don't have to leave your whole life today and become an artist tomorrow, right? You're there. I know I had a lot of baby steps on my own path for sure, and I'm sure that will resonate with a lot of the people listening. I'm curious to know, how did the people around you react when you sort of made the decision to leave? Your family, your friends, the people that your former coworkers, maybe. What kind of reactions did you get?
Actually, people were really excited for me. Again, it was a planned decision between my husband and I. So we planned it. It wasn't like I woke up and said, that's it. We saved money, we got rid of debt, we did everything that we had to do to make this decision. But when my last day of work, people had a party for me. I mean, it was pretty exciting. People were excited for my journey, because it was something unheard of. Who quits their job that makes this much money to go paint all day long? I mean, and most people are like, God, I wish I could do that. I wish I could take on that journey. So yeah, most people were pretty excited for me, and really supportive. So I had a lot of support and guidance from family and friends. It was exciting.
That's awesome. I think we can have so much fear about how other people are going to react, especially the people close to us sometimes. And like you said, people are, I love how you said, like, people are saying, I wish I could do that. Like, that resonates with people, that you're following your passion. And I'm sure people admire that and respect that tremendously. Awesome. So, Christa, can you tell us a little bit about the work you're doing now in your art business?
So right now, my focus is teaching. I do a lot of online courses, kind of guiding and supporting other people who have that same, thought in their head to create. My focus are people that do not call themselves artists in the beginning. But once they work with me, then they become artists, or they believe in themselves that they can be artists. And creating art really is, so teaching and creating art, my focus are portraits of women. And my kind of artist focus is in empowering other women to, one, create, to follow their passion, and also to just feel amazing and beautiful, and feel like they deserve what they deserve in this world, and not have to feel all the influences of what society tells them they need to be. So my paintings resonate that in the portraits and hair and color and all that. So it's a celebration of amazingness of women.
Love that. And I love how you said that you work with people who aren't artists, or don't call themselves artists. We can get so hung up on that word, I think, we have a lot of messages in our culture about who gets to call themselves an artist or like a capital A artist, and that the rest of us can't. So I love that how you said that when people start working with you, they don't call themselves artists, but once they start working with you, they're like, oh yeah, maybe I am an artist.
Yeah.
Maybe I do get to call myself an artist. Did you have that moment in your journey where was it hard to call yourself an artist, or was there any challenge?
I always do, because I did not go to art school. So I'm always fighting that feeling, always fighting with that. So especially right now, I'm working with a mentor right now, me personally, for my own personal art growth. And it's hard because she's an established artist. She's went to art school. She teaches in art school. And it can really set you off your tracks a little bit, the critique, it's constructive criticism, but the constant nitpicking of, my technique and skill. But when I teach, I don't teach technique and skill. I just kind of teach very intuitive and so forth. So it's tough, and I struggle sometimes when I try to compare myself with an art school artist, because I feel like, I don't have the pedigree, I don't have that education to call myself an artist. So yeah, I do fight with my imposter syndrome daily. But eventually, I kind of come back into myself, into my space, and I accept where I am right now. And I try not to compare myself to my mentor, because that, you know, she's just an amazing artist and she's been doing it a while, but it's hard not to compare. And so I try to teach people not to compare, and just to be happy with where they are right now, wherever they are. Even if all you can do is draw a circle, look at that circle and say, it's amazing. It might not be as perfect as this other artist's circle, but your circle is beautiful because you created that from you. And that's what I try to teach others. And I try my best to practice what I preach, but it is very difficult because we are inundated with comparisons. On Instagram, we scroll through Instagram and social media, and we see comparisons everywhere, and it can knock you off your tracks a little bit, because you kind of go home and start creating, and you're like, it doesn't look like that person's, and it can make it very difficult. So that's why I teach. That's why I create my online classes, to help people understand and be amazed with their growth where they are right now.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. The comparison can really, that Instagram, scrolling through Instagram really can be on the comparison. Sure. All right, Christa, so I have a question for you. In your experience, your personal experience, and in the work you do with women, what do you think is like the main reason that people out there who are creative and want to create, but they're not making time and space for creativity in their life? What do you think is like the number one reason that holds us back or keeps us blocked from doing that?
I mean, for me, it's procrastination, but I think for most people, I think it's chasing after that perfection. They're seeing that perfection through comparison, through all the images that they see around them, and then fear of not being able to live up to that comparison. So I think a lot of people just chase after that perfection, and then they run away from the fear of failure or rejection, or somebody telling them that it's not good enough. And I think that holds people back from creating. And I think we need to adjust that, and chase after that fear and take it head on, and run away from perfection because it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, perfectionism, that's a big one for sure. And lots of our viewers resonate with that, for sure. So, and adding on to that, if you could offer our viewers like one baby step, we were talking about baby steps before, one baby step that they could do today to just inch a little bit closer to that part of them that wants to be creative and wants to be making art, what would you suggest?
I would suggest just get a pencil or get a marker or anything and just start creating. Um, Not comparing yourself to others, but just create. Get a regular sketchbook or notebook and just start doodling every day. The more and more you do something, the more and more you build up, I call it creative muscle memory.
Mhm.
And so you have to do it over and over and over again. The first time you do it, it's not going to be right. You know, you're going to struggle, but the next day you do it, you're going to realize the mistakes you made the day before. And then if you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, it's just like riding a bike or, learning how to do something. Um, you just kind of build up that muscle memory and then it just becomes easier and easier. And then you take classes and you absorb support and guidance from others, and that's how. So yeah, it's baby steps, just practice each day. Maybe it's just a circle or a line, and then just kind of expand from there. So it takes time to get to where you need to be, and you don't need to have a goal in mind. Just create, sketch, doodle, um, copy stuff, trace it, whatever you need to do to get there. That's going to make you feel comfortable.
Thank you. I love that. That everyday piece is really important. We can miss that one. Just doing it a little, even like you said, just a circle or a line, just it can be that simple and just
Yes.
again every day. Um, and I love sketchbooks, and I think we forget in this like social media world, we forget that we're allowed to just draw something and not share it. Like it doesn't have
Yes.
to go on Instagram. It doesn't have to go on Facebook. You can just draw something in your own. You don't even have to show anybody. Just we're allowed to just make
Yes.
ourselves. We're such a like oversharing culture right now. You don't have to share. You can just do it for yourself and put it in your sketchbook. All right. So Krista, I think we'll transition now. I know you have a practice that you are going to show for our viewers that they can try along with you while they're watching, or they can watch and try it later. So we're going to transition to that now.
Yes, definitely. And it is just continuing that practice. I'm just going to take a simple notebook, that, 99-cent notebook that you can take, that you can get at the store, and we're going to doodle and sketch in it. Really easy. So it doesn't take expensive art supplies to get started.
That's another great piece of advice. Don't take on art supplies when you're starting out. All right, we are going to watch your practice now.
All right.
Hello, creatives. I'm going to show you a quick and easy creative project that you can utilize within your daily creative practice. Even if you're just starting out, this is a good one. All you need is a piece of paper. I'm using a piece of mixed media paper, or if you have a sketchbook handy, that works as well. And also a marker. This is just a regular Sharpie marker. I'm going to be using some watercolors, so I have some assorted brushes and a glass of water as well. And I start by opening my creative portal. I've made that shape there, and that's just my opening where I'll be adding some words. So think about how you feel in this process. Then I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to create a face using one continuous line. Now, if you're uncomfortable making faces, don't worry here. This is made to look wonky. Allow your creative self to tap into that 4-year-old self and just be who you are. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just go with the line. Let that marker do its thing. Now, you can create anything with one continuous line. You can do a tree, or maybe you like creating just an abstract shape. Just go for it, whatever you're feeling at the moment. I'm feeling a face because I love drawing faces, so I'm just going for it. And I'm not picking up my marker. Just let it go. All right. You can do this and you'll see how much fun this is. I do this on a regular basis. One, because it helps me build up my creative muscle memory. It helps me practice within my creative process, but it also helps me build my creative confidence. That's really important here because we tend to get ourselves caught up in the perfection of things, and we tend to get ourselves caught up in the fear of failing here. Here, we're getting wonky on purpose. We're scribbling and doodling on purpose. And we're just allowing ourselves to accept where we are right now as we engage in the act of creating. Now, you see, I picked up my marker here. And after you're done, you can pick up your marker and just make a few little adjustments here and there. Maybe continue to doodle. Whatever you're feeling at that moment, just go for it. And step back and observe and see the amazingness that you created. Now, tell yourself how amazing you are right now. Now let's add some color. All right, so I've got my watercolor palette here. Doesn't matter what color, whatever you're feeling or whatever you have on hand. And I'm going to start adding color. Now, if you are new to watercolors or you're not comfortable with watercolors, you can use acrylic, you can use ink. If you have crayons, if you have marker, whatever you have, don't think you need to get the latest and greatest art supply to complete this project and exercise. Just get a simple watercolor palette. And if you are new to watercolors, don't worry about it. We're just filling in between the lines, and we're allowing the watercolor to just do its thing. Again, let the creativity just emerge outward. Don't think about it too much. The more you think about it, the more you're going to open and allow perfection and fear to set in. So just let go here. Be intuitive. I'm just taking a yellowish, almost like a yellow ochre color, and I'm just filling in my face and just coloring in sometimes in the lines, or just allowing the watercolor to just bloom and flow on its own. I'm using the water to spread paint around. This is where you shine. This is where you just let go. If you are new to painting in watercolor, just use one color or one or two colors. Don't make it so complicated. You can do whatever you like, but slow down, step back and observe at times, and just allow yourself to create. Allow yourself to just absorb what's happening right now. You are creating, and it's amazing. And even if it isn't where you want it to be at this moment in time, just allow it to happen, because there's another piece of paper you can create on. There are several opportunities for you to continue to maintain and continue a practice in creativity. It's the practice that gets you where you want to be. You're not going to get there the first time, maybe not the second time or the third, but as you continue to engage in creativity the way you want it to, you will bloom and you will grow. If you notice, what I did is I added another layer of that same yellow ochre color to the left side of the face. Now that adds more depth. It adds shadow. So as you add additional layers over your color, it gets darker and deeper. So if you're new to watercolor, you can go back over a section with the same color and it gets a little bit darker there. Now I'm going in with some red, adding some interest to the face and her lip area, and then also adding some rosy cheeks in there just to give her face just a little flare there. Now just be aware that when you are painting wet on wet, that the watercolor may decide to do its own thing and it may bloom outward in areas that you didn't intend. I'm going to tell you to just allow that to happen. Don't get caught up in coloring in the lines everywhere. Just let the watercolor just intuitively speak its own mind just for a second. Just give up control a little bit. I went in and I made her eyes green, and now I'm going to fill in her hair there, just with a kind of like a reddish brown color. Again, understand that when you apply wet on wet, that the watercolor may just do its own thing. And you notice there, look in her lip area, part of that lip color is starting to bloom out into her face there. I'm going to leave that alone. You can definitely adjust that, and you'll notice I will adjust later on, but just let it happen for a moment. Let it happen. You can adjust, but allow for those things to happen. Don't get yourself caught up in that's not perfect. Focus right now on filling in the hair shape and allowing for the inconsistencies of the watercolor. If you notice, if you add a little bit, if you add some water, you'll notice the texture changes a bit, and play around with it. Get to know how it works. Get to know how the color behaves next to another color. Get to know how your brush behaves when you add water to it, when you just add paint. Get to know how things work. Get a good relationship. Develop a good relationship with what you're working with during your creative process. So I've got the hair shape there. This is looking amazing and I am loving her. So where do I go next? Now I have that portal there that I want to visit, and I'm going to step back in a second and just observe and take note of how I feel in this moment. Where do I want to take this story? What story do I want to tell? And what's my intention here? Because I always feel every creative project starts with a story and an intention. So I picked up my marker again, and I'm going to fill in that portal that we created in the beginning. I'm going to put my intention in there. I'm going to create the story of what I'm trying to tell here. And I'm thinking of growth, and I'm thinking of feeding my growth here. I'm thinking of what do I do to nurture and feed my creative growth. I practice, and I do this very exercise daily to nurture and feed and allow my growth and my creative practice to bloom outward and grow and get better and better. So I've decided I'm going to call this, or I'm going to document how I feel or my intention right now by saying I'm here to nurture my growth. And that's what my practice is all about. So you're going to go in your portal, your shape right there, and you're going to write your intention, or you're going to write how you feel at this moment, or you're going to write in there, what do you want out of this creative practice? Where do you want to go? Where do you want this to take you? Think about it. If you need to journal about it, if you need to step back and observe and take some time, take your time here. Don't rush through this. It's really important to document how you feel and document your intentions. You need to know where you want to go here. And this is a great way to just write it down during your creative process, or keep a separate journal handy to just document feelings, document successes, document things that didn't work out. The more you get to know who you are during your creative process, the more you can grow and open up and expand. So here I'm expanding in my portal here. I opened up my creative portal and now I am documenting where I want to go with this, my intention. And this is my practice. And this is what helps me nurture my growth. Again, now I'm taking my marker and I'm starting to expand from my sketch here and creating lines of energy, because this is the energy that's emitting from my portrait. This is the energy that's coming out from how I feel right now and coming out from my intention here. And so go through your piece and let it expand. Do line work, do some doodling. I felt like creating some leaves and flowers here, and I'm expanding outward to the edge of my paper here with creative energy. Whatever's happening, this is very intuitive. Don't think about what to doodle. Don't think about what to scribble. Don't think about it. Just let the energy come outward. And you're going to fill your page with line work here. Fill your page with intuitive creativity, intuitive doodling here. It's almost like what I call free writing, when I just kind of write whatever comes to mind. This is the same concept. Maybe even time yourself for about 5 minutes and fill up your space with creative energy here. Maybe make dots, make lines. What are things that you're connected to? Circles. Is there symbolism that you always seem to revert to when you're doodling? Do you see the energy coming out from her? Do you see your energy? Do you feel it? And document it here. Document it through scribble and doodle, and allow the page to be filled with this creative growth that's happening. Okay, as you continue to document your creative growth and continue to add your creative energy throughout your page, we're going to move on to the next step, and that is continuing that growth, continuing that energy, but now adding color. We're not going to think about what color. We can just use the limited palette that we have in front of us, or use every single color, but we're going to continue to expand that creative energy through the edges of the pages by adding color. The first thing I feel like doing, or whatever I felt like doing at the time, was outlining my hair shape with a darker color. And I'm just using the black watercolor, and I'm just going in there and loosely outlining the hair shape. This will make it stand out, and I really want her to stand out from the rest of the page. I want her energy to come forward, and then let all that other energy to step back. It's all good energy, but I really want you to see her. I want her to be the focal point. And I love using the darks, especially when I'm returning to color. The contrast is really important in your piece, and allowing for dark and lights within your piece really make it whole. And here I am going in and just applying color. I'm not really thinking about it too much. I'm just going through my palette pretty intuitively and just filling in space, filling in areas that I feel need color. And I can leave some areas alone. I don't have to touch every single piece of white paper. I'm just filling in space, adding to that creative energy, applying that creative energy, that feeling, but using color. And I'll go in and just fill in areas between my doodling, fill in areas that I feel need colorful energy. And I'm just kind of utilizing the same colors that I kind of used in my face when I filled in my face. And I'm going in and just allowing myself to have fun here. This is fun. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to feel fun. This is you again, tapping into your 4-year-old self and having fun, not thinking about getting it perfect, not thinking about the mistakes that you may have made, but enjoying your creativity right now and enjoying the fact that you are nurturing your creative growth right now. You are engaging in practice and you are developing a creative practice that will help nurture and grow and help your creative journey bloom outward and forward. And I will continue to just add marks, do some mark making, maybe think of more symbols, just fill in space intuitively. Don't think about it too much and just allow things to happen. And don't forget, step back and observe. Notice where you went here. I'm taking just a little paper towel here just to blot up any areas that I just weren't feeling at that moment in time. It adds some texture, but you don't have to fix any mistakes here. You can just let things just kind of flow and step back, observe, and celebrate what you just did. Celebrate your creativity. Celebrate the fact that you sat here and engaged. You sat here and allowed yourself to embrace creativity. If this is your first time, enjoy it, embrace it, and absorb it. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to see what you create, and happy creating along your creative journey.
Okay, Christa, thank you so much for sharing that practice with us. That was great. All right, Christa, thank you so much for being with us here today. It was so great to talk to you. I appreciate it. I'm sure all of our viewers appreciated all of your wisdom that you had to share. And thank you for sharing your own journey and your own creative life with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. It was so nice to have you today.